Hello, Pat Gray. Welcome to the program. How are you?
Man. Perfect.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
Just in almost everywhere.
Yeah.
In almost every way. Yeah.
Pretty close.
It's good to have you here.
It's good to be
I wanted
here.
to bring in Jason here real quick, our head researcher, because last night we did an epic show, which I know you watched, right? Right, Pat?
Did I?
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, almost every episode of it you've watched.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And almost every minute of every episode.
Exactly.
Almost. But why count? Yeah. So last night we did an episode, and we started to lay out the case that the federal government has been laying out here in the last couple of weeks on on the deep state. And there's so many things in here that the more you look at it, the more you read it, the more you're like, okay, wait a minute, I get it now. And one of those things comes from Loretta Lynch. Do you remember? She was the head of the DOJ under Obama, and she had a meeting at an airport on the tarmac with Clinton. Do you remember this?
Vaguely.
Pat?
Yeah, vaguely.
Let me refresh your memory. Here is the news report at the time. Listen.
Well, let's bring it back here at home here in Phoenix in a very interesting meeting on the tarmac at Sky Harbor International Airport. As ABC 15 has confirmed, former President Bill Clinton was in town and met up with U.S. Attorney General Loretta Lynch as she was arriving in Phoenix. Now, this meeting took place just hours before the release of the Benghazi report, so we asked her about it.
I did see President Clinton at the Phoenix airport as I was leaving, and he spoke to myself and my husband on the plane. Our conversation was a great deal about his grandchildren. It was primarily social and about our travels. He mentioned the golf he played in Phoenix.
So wait. So you've got former president's plane on the tarmac, and you're holding things up because the attorney general wants to go over and talk to you about golf. I mean, it just doesn't seem credible. It didn't seem credible at the time. Well, last night we showed you the evidence and the documents on what they were talking about. And it wasn't about golf or grandkids. It apparently was a briefing on what the FBI was and was not going to investigate regarding Benghazi and all of the leaked emails. Jason, you want to fill it in?
It wasn't just grandkids and golf. It was also vacation plans, Glenn. So it's exactly accurate on those vacation plans. That's important as well.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you watched last night, you probably felt like this show was a little familiar because you're like, wait a minute, I remember that. We had these questions. This was missing. Well, the Durham Annex is providing a lot of that now. What we found was we're not entirely 100% sure that this is what they're talking about, but just like with all these things, there's a lot of common sense involved. They're not talking about golf and grandkids or vacation plans. What we found from the Durham Annex is one of the intelligence releases was that the Obama administration, and this is almost a direct quote, was said to have been almost a direct quote, willing to use all administrative levers to make sure that the Clinton email server scandal would go away as far as other emails, which is what the annex said. We later find out that there was another memo that said that President Obama was very willing to use Attorney General, names are specifically, Loretta Lynch, to leverage the FBI to make sure that this was happening. She was part of all these administrative levers that he was willing to use. Well, now that's interesting because then the FBI all of a sudden said, you know what? I don't think we can consider these intelligence reports credible. We're just going to not, we're going to pretend that they never happened, that they're poof, that they don't mean anything. And that's also strange.
And what is also on top of that is at the same time, the FBI suddenly says, oh, these servers, these emails that have been stolen, we're just going to farm that out for somebody else. This is top secret information. We're going to farm that out to a private company, CrowdStrike, and we're not even going to look into it ourselves. We're going to take the word of these guys. Wait a minute. What? And we now know that all this whole thing was really not about Donald Trump. This whole thing was about what is on the email servers, what emails were stolen by somebody, we assume the Russians, and what information they had. That included Benghazi, all of these things. So they needed to, what the Russians had and the CIA and FBI knew. In fact, they found it so credible. Was it Brennan or Clapper went and briefed the president immediately after getting the brief himself. It was that important and deemed that credible at the time that he went directly to the White House and said, Mr. President, you need to know the Russians have, it looks like, this information off of these servers, and it involves the DNC and what they were doing with Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders and forcing Bernie Sanders out. It has a lot of stuff about Benghazi and some things about some other things like trying to smear Donald Trump with Russia. They know about all of this stuff, and they know about the corruption, and it's coming from a credible source. That's when Barack Obama did not want anybody to be able to smear his reputation. And so he said at that time, look, I'll use special services, and he puts this special services together. What it is basically is it's a mop-up team. It's everybody that's going to work together and mop all of this stuff, and we're going to twist this and turn it back over and say, no, this Donald Trump, they've got dirt on Donald Trump. So that way, if it ever comes out, we can say, oh, no, that's Russian operatives that are doing all of this. They're just trying to make Hillary Clinton look bad, because they want to distract us from Donald Trump. It appears as though this really had nothing to do with Donald Trump as much as it did with kicking dirt over the tracks of everything that they had done that was so dirty and wrong and illegal. You read it that way, Jason?
Yeah, I do. And I think that the point, there's so much more that's involved with this. You mentioned CrowdStrike. That was also mentioned in the Durham Annex. They said that CrowdStrike would specifically be used as an entity by the FBI to get the narrative out. Now, it's very interesting. If you watch last night's show, we looked around. There's no evidence the FBI ever looked at the servers that CrowdStrike said, look, this proves the Russians did this. They never looked at them. They took their word for it. Now, we were like,
how is that even possible?
Now, that's kind of a big thing. So we looked at, we asked a source that we have in the intelligence community. We said, this can't be true, right? Is this right? Well, the source confirmed it. In the current intelligence community confirmed it and said, it looks like, this is almost a direct quote. We had it last night. It looks like they just relied on CrowdStrike. I mean, oh my gosh. And I want to go back to, the importance of the Loretta Lynch story here. Is it shows how far the Obama administration was willing to go, what they were willing to do to push this narrative forward of Donald Trump, but also to hide and to silence, to use all administrative levers, to use the quote, to make sure that their scandals, all the ones you just mentioned, quietly go away. It's one of the craziest angles to this story. And we find out later that the FBI seems like they were taking the point on making sure a lot of this, it appears so allegedly that they were taking the point on making sure a lot of this happened. Later on, they would give a defensive briefing to Loretta Lynch to say, look, we've got this information that, that it might get out there that you were colluding with the Clinton campaign as part of this scheme. Basically, what do you have to say about it? And what she answered was, I have the quote memorized, Glenn. It's a long one. You ready? She said, okay, and never denied any of the allegations. That's
and
it.
they walked away. The whistleblowers are now showing, that they walked away saying that doesn't make sense. How was she not outraged that she would be accused of this? Why did she not react differently? Why did she just go, okay, thank you? Instead of saying, I mean, if somebody walks into my office and says, hey, Glenn, looks like you're dirty and the Russians have you on tape doing X, Y, and Z, and we're getting all kinds of legitimate intel on you, you would say immediately, absolutely, this is an outrage. This is an outrage. I want you to track this down. That cannot be credible because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. She responded, okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. And so then when she's out on the tarmac, it looks as though that was a briefing to tell the Clintons because she couldn't communicate directly to Hillary Clinton. She gets on, what a surprise, onto a plane where her husband, who can't testify against her, her husband gets onto the plane. And so they're just, just a couple talking about grandkids. She goes onto the plane and briefs Clinton to be able to say, look, we want you to know your wife is safe on this, this, and this. We've handled this, this, and this. The FBI is coming under tow, and they're not going to investigate these things. That's significant.
Yeah, very significant. And it's common sense. These are the things that we pretty much knew was happening, but we never actually had the intelligence or the documents to back it up. Now we do. And the tragedy in a lot of this is these are all questions that the mainstream media could have gotten to way back in the day. They could have looked into these angles. They could have. I don't even know if they can they now, Glenn, with the statute of limitations?
Yes,
I don't know. Okay, so
yeah, they can. I mean, they can if it is conspiracy. If they can tie the same people all the way to, let's say, the Mar-a-Lago raid and that testimony on all of that, if they can bring that in and show that this is part of this same conspiracy, then it can go all the way back.
Yeah.
Well, but if they can't tie it, then no.
The annex goes on to say that this is one of the reasons why they gave the defensive briefing to Loretta Lynch. One of the reasons, her reaction to everything and all the fallout, this sensitive intelligence is what it's called. All this information, leaking all this information, our intelligence gave Comey the reason to completely shut down the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server. I mean, that right there, again, wow. Their fear was so palpable within the FBI. They didn't know how to handle this. So that was the reason that he shut down the investigation. And he gave the excuse of, she didn't have the intent. Remember that? There was no intent. You have to link intent to all of this. No,
you don't.
This memo says that was the reason why. Because of the information in this, they had to shut it down. This story is only beginning.
I know, just beginning. And thank you, Jason. Thanks for coming in. And it's not just it's not just national security stuff. They were shutting it down because it would make Obama look bad. It would make the Democratic Party look really bad. And so this was not just national security stuff. It was also save the Democratic Party. And if this is not prosecuted, if this is not revealed, if it's not prosecuted and proven in court, has to be proven in court, then the message being sent is you're never going to get shut down for anything. Double down. We didn't go far enough. And it's really dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Okay, back in just a second. Let me tell you about our sponsor this half hour. It's Leaf Filter. Sometimes it's really simple. Overdo things that cause, the most damage, like clogged gutters. One bad storm, one backed up drain, and you could be looking at thousands of dollars in water damage to your roof, foundation, or your siding. Not just a nuisance, it's a risk to your home. Leaf Filter is a permanent solution to that problem. Their micro mesh system leaves the pine needles, the shingle, grit, even the small stuff out of your gutters for good. That means no more dangerous trips up the ladder, no more worrying about when the rain starts to fall. Installation is fast, professional, and backed by a lifetime warranty. It's not a patch or a quick fix. It's a long-term investment in your home's protection. So if you want to spend the next storm inside, dry, worry-free, and grateful that you took care of this now, call Leaf Filter. Don't spend your summer worrying about the gutters. Schedule your free inspection and get up to 30% off your entire purchase at leaffilter.com/GlennBeck. That's a free estimate, free inspection, and 30% off at leaffilter.com/GlennBeck. See representative for warranty details. 10 seconds and back to the show. All right. By the way, if you missed this show, you can watch it on Blaze TV or on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/GlennBeck. You don't want to miss it because it's a setup for next week where we bring out the world's biggest chalkboard and we tie all of this together in a way everyone will be able to understand. Hello, Pat. How are you?
I'm a little disturbed. This whole Loretta Lynch thing. I mean, I liked her when she sang Coal Miner's Daughter. I really did. Not to mention Stand By Your Man. I thought that was, for country, that was a pretty good song. And
that was Loretta.
Disappointing.
That was Loretta Lynn.
Wait.
Not Lynch.
It's not the same.
Loretta Lynn.
Not the same person?
Not the same.
No wonder. I thought, wow,
Shocking.
when did she become so political? It doesn't seem like her at all.
Right.
Okay, well, that helps.
You know what's really sad is that this story is so old now. You've
forgotten it.
10 years old.
Yeah.
You've forgotten it. I mean, you have a better chance of remembering all the words of Coal Miner's Daughter than you do of the meeting on the tarmac. One of those things is right. One of those is important. The other one is not.
Sadly, that's true.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is
sadly, there are many people in the country that would go, I know, and that's why I remember Coal Miner's Daughter.
Right.
Because it's important.
Yes. Yeah.
So
it's a good walk down memory lane, though, to remember all of the corruption and all of the crap that we were going through at the time, and to have this come back around, and just have the possibility, though, of justice being served in this.
It's going to. I think.
Do you think it's going to happen? Do you really?
I do, because. So here's the rumor. We talked about it on TV last night. There has been a grand jury convened, and there may be multiple grand juries on the way. And they're not convening it in Washington, D.C. We believe that the first grand jury has been convened in Florida, which would be a very good thing.
Right.
But also, some of these things happen in Virginia, so you'll be able to go into Virginia and also convene a grand jury. You have a chance of this actually being heard by a fair jury.
Glenn Beck.
All right, let me tell you about the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. There are moments when history just doesn't feel distant, when it sits safely behind us in the textbooks or museums. That's one thing. But when it sits right behind us and you can feel its hot breath on your neck, life in the headlines, it's a little disturbing. But that's what we were born for, these times. Families huddled in bomb shelters for the elderly who can't support themselves, the children who fall asleep to the sounds of sirens every night. This is not just a news cycle. It's a nightmare. And the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is here, and they're asking you to join them. They've spent decades preparing for this very kind of moment, stockpiling emergency food, supporting shelters, evacuating communities, supporting the most at-risk communities. Their ability to respond, to keep moving, to keep serving, to keep saving depends entirely on people like you who refuse to look away. So if you'd like to help, learn more about how you can help at ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. ifcj.org.
Sign up for our free newsletter and find out more about the torch. Get it all at glennbeck.com.
So we have Kristi Noem coming on in a little while on the program today, and I want to talk to her about this new thing where you don't have to be under 40 to be in Homeland Security anymore. I mean, you want to be a member of ICE. And you don't have to be under, you don't have to be under 40. And so I thought Pat, you and I, we should talk to her about, you and I mean, I could grow some like 1970s pork chop, sideburns, and one of those 70s mustaches, and get it. We could both get a pair of, white Velcro sneakers.
Right.
I mean, we're at, at 60. I don't know if they still want it at 60, but both of us have a really bad back, but we can do that.
Oh, yeah.
We can do that.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Oh, imagine all the people that Walmart greeters now that could be members of ICE. So, and you know what? Honestly, those Walmart greeters kind of scare the hell out of me. Some of them, you go to Costco and they're like, "Excuse me, let me look at your receipt." You're like, okay, all right, I won't run. All right, so we have her coming up in just a little while. Did you see J.D. Prisker
on Stephen Colbert last night? Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Colbert actually brought up the gerrymandering, which was kind of surprising, and showed the gerrymandered map from Illinois, which is interesting to say the least.
Here it is. Cut 3, please.
Take a look at this. Look at 17 here. It does that. Then it comes up here and it sneaks around there and goes all the way up here and then goes right over there like that. And look at this one, kind of goes whoop up there. It's like the stinger on a scorpion down here. Is this common for all states to do?
Well, we handed it over to a kindergarten class and let them decide.
Okay, that's the nonpartisan group that does this
Absolutely.
For you guys?
That's our independent commission, That is,
so funny.
Look,
because all states, to a certain extent, do this, why is what Texas doing particularly egregious in this case?
Well, here, every 10 years we do a census in this country, and right after the census, we redraw districts in every state. But what the Republicans are trying to do, and the Texas Republicans, frankly, at the behest of Donald Trump, are doing it mid-decade.
Oh, no.
That is extraordinarily rare.
It's perfectly
That's
fine.
what the problem is.
Totally legal. Not a problem, but we're doing it mid-decade. Oh, no.
Oh, because that's when we usually do things after the census. Except this census has been shown to be flawed over and over and over again. This census, it was really a weird thing, Stu. Pat, you had Texas, you had Tennessee, where else? I think Arkansas, Oklahoma. You had all those states underrepresented.
Yeah.
Undercounted. And then you had all of these blue states, they were overcounted, which was weird. It's never happened before. It was just really weird that it was in 2020.
Huh. How weird.
Yeah. And they were counting illegals. And,
yes.
There's some that say we shouldn't count them as citizens.
President Trump is one of those people who says next time we're not going to count illegal aliens.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to take the number that we had and subtract the number we come up with the next time where illegals aren't counted, and maybe get a sense for how many illegal aliens there are in this country now.
I mean, can you imagine how many House seats would be lost in California if you stopped doing that?
And maybe some in Texas.
Of course.
Because how many illegals do we have here? 10 million? What is the number in California? 15 million? 20? Who knows? We don't really know, but it would be fascinating to find out one day.
Yeah, it sure would be fascinating. I wonder if we ever, if we ever will. Did you see what's happening in Seattle?
Where there's a female Zohran Mamdani running for mayor? Is that what you're...
Well, I don't know. I can't define a woman. I don't know what you mean by female. I don't know why that is so important. I mean, Mamdani could very well be a female as well. So there's this new Mamdani. Now there's a Somali that is a socialist in Minneapolis,
right?
That's running for mayor.
Yep.
You now have this. I mean, they had a social democrat as a mayor in Seattle already.
Yeah, who was bad enough.
Apparently,
this one's worse.
That wasn't. They weren't strong enough.
No.
This one is really militant and an activist, and they set up this ranked voting, and apparently she's winning in the ranked voting. So she's now the candidate for the election this fall in Seattle. I don't know. It seems to me that
Scary.
we are a country that is leaning towards socialism in some of these states and some of these cities.
Yeah,
it's going to be really difficult. I mean, how are you going to manage a capitalist society when you have large socialist cities?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she, by the way, she's even more radical on the cops than what they've had in the past. She wants to replace the cops with, I don't know, doctors,
psychiatrists,
psychiatrists.
Yeah.
She wants that approach, not putting people in jail. Can you imagine what Seattle will be like if she wins? And I bet you she wins.
I mean, look at this. It's coast to coast now. New York City, Minneapolis, Seattle. You've got that screwball in South Portland, Maine. It's happening all over the place, and not just in large cities either. South Portland, Maine is not big. I
don't think I've heard of the South Portland, Maine mayor.
It's frightening. It's frightening. We've got so many radicals, and I think part of the problem is, we've had radicals in our education system teaching our kids who are now adults, and they've been sold on socialism, and they have been taught that capitalism is evil. You're seeing that all over the internet now, how evil capitalism is, and how it's the root of every problem we have. And you've got these influencers who are screaming about it on their dumb podcasts. And so they just believe that capitalism is wrong and evil and contributing to all of societal ills, when the opposite is true.
What I like, though, is the mixture of socialist, communist, and Islamist.
Yes, when you get the Islamunist, that's the perfect blend, isn't it?
That is a really good addition
it is.
To our society. By the way, I want to
really
play
is.
this. This is a Muslim Sheikh, Sheikh Asim al-Kahim. He says that, I'll let him speak for himself.
Okay.
Go ahead. Cut 5.
If you sell a slave, now one would say slavery is banned. I said, yes, it's banned. But slavery was there, and slavery is not something that Muslims should be ashamed of.
Oh.
Because people think that, Islam promotes slavery. Does Islam promote slavery? There is only one means of having slavery, and that is through capturing of prisoners of war. Non-Muslims, disbelievers. So if someone attacks my country, I, with the army, defend my country, and we get prisoners of wars. What do we do with them? Send them to Guantanamo. No, we enslave them. Oh, this is against human rights.
It's
well,
fine.
Them
That's
attacking
fine.
us is human rights? It's okay, Annie? No, this is human rights. How? This disbeliever who was an enemy of Islam, I can execute him and get it over with. But what I'm giving him is an honest and decent life. By living in our houses and looking at how we treat them and looking at how we worship Allah Azza wa Jal, this would make them accept Islam voluntary, because there is no compulsion in religion. And that is why the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith, I am astonished, I am amazed of people being dragged to paradise in chains. Who would be dragged in paradise in chains? Everybody goes to paradise willingly. The Prophet is giving us a metaphor. Because these prisoners of war, they were enslaved, so they were in chains. And these chains made them accept Islam and hence enter paradise as if they were dragged into it
So, I mean, I think this is really good.
It's perfectly reasonable.
Islam, people say that Islam promotes slavery, but there's only one kind of slavery that is okay. Now, that itself was kind of a moment for me, because I always thought, no, there's no reason that slavery is okay. There's not, but no, in Islam there is.
But now you know better. You know better.
Now I know better. It is if you're a prisoner of war,
right?
You're a prisoner of war, and you can convert to Islam, or you can be a slave. But you're gonna want to convert to Islam because you're gonna see how good Islam is, how we live our life, and all of the benefits. I think maybe a lot of it from slaves, but all of the benefits that we have, and you're going to say, you know what? If that's the way they're living their life, I want to be a part of that. No.
So let's see. It seemed like the other alternative to converting, other than slavery, is that you can also be executed. So you could die, you could convert, wait a minute. Or you could be a slave.
But he made it very clear there is no compulsion.
No, not in Islam.
To get to not in Islam. There is no compulsion. No. It's convert or die. But that's not I'm not forcing you.
But you
can still choose.
You have that wonderful third option of slavery. So it's all about choice. That's beautiful.
No, it is.
It is.
And I'm so glad that in Minneapolis, you guys are starting to embrace this. You're like, we haven't really given the Islamist a chance to see how this works out. We haven't really in New York. You haven't given that really a chance. Somebody who's like, death to all Jews.
Right.
And apparently also for slavery, but only in very specific. I mean, New York. You'll still have the chance to convert,
Right.
And
stop your belly aching. Just embrace it.
There's no compel. They're not gonna force you. You're gonna want to join Islam.
Sure.
That's just that's it. Or they'll behead you. It's weird because there's this book that I read one time, and towards the end it talks about how you're going to be beheaded if you don't accept the mark, and I can't remember what that is. But
it's in some book though.
It's some book that I read. And don't worry about that, especially if you're in Australia, because there's a new queer religion in Australia. Cut 4.
I only started thinking I might as well start a religion when Trump stood for election, because I thought if you can get elected as a president of the United States, then I can found my own religion.
Creation.
Okay, logic.
Right.
An art
Makes
work
sense.
in the form of a queer, insurrectionary, science fiction, climate change religion.
It's triumphant, it's jubilant, it's sorrowful, meaningful, incredibly artistic, and heartistic.
To be honest, it was a bit of a joke. A kind of a finger up to the establishment. It has become something completely different, and offering, I guess, our idea of a better way.
I really wanted creation to be full of purposeful hysteria and pleasure and poetry and sexiness. It has big feeling. It's alluring, it's glamorous, it's magic, it's witchcraft. Is it activism or is it solace? I do not know.
Oh, wow.
Is that brimstone I see coming down from the sky?
What could possibly be wrong with that? Hey,
nothing.
But at least
Nothing.
At least they don't have slaves.
Right.
But they haven't taken any prisoners of war yet, so we'll see. All right, back in just a second. Wow. Wow is exactly right. Our sponsor this half hour is Relief Factor. There was a time when you didn't think twice. You moved, you lifted, you ran, you reached, not because you were showing up, but because you knew your body would handle it. There's a trust that you had. Somebody, when you think of your joints, your muscles, your back, you didn't even think about it. They would just deliver every time. But pain changes that relationship, and every movement starts to feel like negotiation, or worse, a gamble. And the longer it goes on, the more you start to pull back, not because you want to, whatever the thing is, but because you're no longer sure your body is on your side. Well, Relief Factor exists to help restore that trust. It works with your body, not against it, targeting the inflammation that has been keeping you in survival mode. It's not about less pain. It's about confidence, the kind that comes from knowing you can move through the day without bracing for impact. Trust is earned, and for the millions of people, Relief Factor has helped earn it back. So give their 3-week quick start a try for $19.95. 3 weeks. See if it works for you. You'll know by the end of 3 weeks. Visit relieffactor.com or call 800-4RELIEF. Take it as directed. 800, the number 4-RELIEF. Relieffactor.com.
This is Glenn Beck.
The Associated Press has just conducted an interview, and it is a little heartbreaking. These are the survivors of explosions, survivors on a slow, painful path to recovery. Their faces are laced with scars. Their hands are missing fingers, signs of the moment when they check their pager.
Oh, wow.
Wait, you mean the
terrorists?
Hezbollah terrorist pagers? Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. Hezbollah provided the Associated Press with 8 different people that they could speak to about the painful road of recovery from having a terrorist pager go off in their hand. Unbelievable.
This is Glenn Beck.